Welcome back to this new episode of In Search of Self-Mastery with Dario Gutiasco. Today, I want to ask you this question. Why are you unable to inspire and influence others, despite having the ability and knowing it, along with very good ideas? If you cannot positively influence others, how do you expect to cope, leave a mark, or be the man that others look to for guidance? In this episode, we will talk about how to effectively influence and motivate others. If you feel that despite your good intentions, you are not able to inspire or make the people around you take action for their own good, then it is time to change that. Stay tuned, because I am going to teach you how to become a leader that others follow because they want to, not because they have to. Does that sound good to you? Let's get started. I believe you know it, and we all know it, even if it's unconsciously. If you cannot positively influence others, you are not a leader. It means that no one sees you as someone they can respect, someone they can follow and emulate. You are just another voice that nobody hears, lost out there in the wind. The reality is that it doesn't matter how many good ideas you have, how much you know, or how much experience you possess. If you cannot get others to do things or influence them to take action, you are failing as a leader. And perhaps you are wondering if it is your responsibility what others do or do not do. It definitely depends on the perspective. But from my point of view, 2009, if you are not influencing others to take action and to emulate or copy what you are doing, it means that you are not doing things. So it directly affects you. So it is time to learn to inspire, motivate, and transform the people around you so that they want to follow you for what you represent and what you would like to manifest in this life. Point number 1. You cannot influence others if they do not respect you. We mentioned this before, right, Dario? To be able to influence others, everything starts from respect. If you want to inspire others, you have to live as an example. What does that mean? Your actions speak louder than any words you can say. The clearest example is with children. I don't know if you have any, but you have surely spent time with young kids, and you have probably noticed that children do not listen. They emulate and copy the people they admire. What does this mean? No one, absolutely no one, regardless of the country or culture, follows a man who does not practice what he preaches. If you want others to respect you and follow you, you must first show that you yourself live by the principles you preach. A man who acts with integrity and above all consistency inspires others to do the same. And obviously, we have the opposite side. If you only talk and do not act, no one will take you seriously, and even less will they follow you. Not only that, but they also won't take you seriously. They won't consider your ideas or proposals. They will mock you directly or indirectly. They will laugh at you, and they might think you are a good person, but not someone competent. Does that sound familiar? Because I have. That is one of the things I have had to live through and deal with my whole life. And I have had to overcome it little by little. But above all, to overcome myself, my weaknesses. Returning to the point, if you are not the example of what you say, no one will trust you or follow your leadership. Real influence comes from authenticity and consistency. Without them, you will only be seen as someone who talks a lot but does little, and that kind of person inspires no one. Point number 2. Inspiring others requires empathy, not imposition. First, let's define what empathy means to make things super clear. This is the ability to identify with someone. So, to flow effectively, you need to understand people. And I am very aware of this topic of empathy, that I do not share 100% of what people say, and that is why I rely on the definition. Many say that you have to put yourself in others' shoes, that you need to be aware of others' feelings and things like that. But what it really means is that if you can understand their fears, their motivations, and their needs, you will be able to speak to both their conscious and subconscious, making the communication about the person and not about you. In other words, it should be about them, not about you. Empathy is what will allow you to connect on a deeper level and thus gain their trust. A man who knows how to listen and understand is a man whom people naturally follow. You don't need to force people to do what you say. They will want to do it on their own because they know you care about what may happen to them. Positive influence comes from connection, not from imposition. But if you impose your will without considering the perspectives and what others think and feel, you will only generate resistance and rejection. The truth is that no one wants to follow someone who does not listen or care about the needs of others. And if you try to impose your ideas and demands without showing that empathy, you will drive away the people you could have influenced and brought to your cause. The result will be empty leadership with no followers. You will even create enemies. Point number 3. True influence does not seek control, but rather growth. When you positively influence someone, you do not seek to control them, you seek their growth. This is valid for all types of relationships, whether at work, with your family, or with your partner. The idea is not to try to control them, but to help them become better and grow. The best leaders and influencers inspire others to be better, not to be submissive followers. A true leader does not want their followers to depend on them. On the contrary, they want them to grow and become leaders in their own right. You might be thinking right now, of course not. That's not true. That's not possible. But it's completely the opposite. Let me ask you this question. Do you like or would you like to carry other people around? Would you like each person to carry their own weight and even take responsibility for others? And if you still have doubts, I recommend that you listen to it again as many times as necessary. If your goal is to control people to do what you want, that is not being a leader. That is being a tyrant. But if your goal is to see them thrive and develop, your influence will be lasting and respected. But if your only motivation to influence others is to get them to do what you want, they will see you as a manipulator. They will always be on the defensive. When you come, when you approach, when you ask them for something, as we mentioned a moment ago, they will only think that you are thinking about yourself and nothing else. Manipulation can achieve short-term results, but it always comes back to you. Those people you manipulate or come to manipulate will abandon you as soon as they realize that you are only using them for your personal gain. And the true way to influence, the one that lasts, is to inspire people to grow, not to obey. And the clearest example is surely you who are listening to this. Perhaps in the culture you grew up in, just like I did or something similar, you were imposed upon, or even forced to obey, despite not agreeing, but you had no other choice but to do so. But at the moment you were able to escape, did you continue doing what those people forced you to do? I don't believe it. So, if you can't positively influence others, it's because you haven't yet understood that leadership is not about controlling or imposing your ideas. It is about inspiring, being an example, doing things first, and making others want to improve because of your example. And if you keep trying to control people, you will lose their respect, if there is any left. But if you focus on their growth and well-being, again, this is very important, which is why this point is repeated. You will be a leader that they will gladly follow and stay with for a long time. So, are you going to keep trying to impose your will, or are you going to become the man who inspires others to be better? And as always, remember that you are just one decision away from changing your life. See you next time.